Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
There is always room for more in the coffin of time.
This is episode 270, in which we discuss Madhouse from 1974. And this is recorded on June 17th, 2026.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Tyron. This podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host and I will take another look at another classic. I'm just screwing this up because life is that way. We will tackle another classic, not so classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. Blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm going to introduce people with better language skills than myself, starting off with my co-host, Jeff Moore. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
I think you picked the wrong guy.
Today,
for better language skills. Anyway, I'm doing good. I'm great.
Excellent. Also joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special editor, and all-around nice guy, published author. And
why, thank you.
Where can people get Wrong?
They can get it on Amazon. Pretty much every book ever written. You can get the Necronomicon if you know where to look. But this will only cost you $10 and you won't have like your body torn asunder by invisible demons, or will you?
Unfortunately, Chad is taking a sabbatical, so he's not with us. But good news is we have a very special co-ghost. Gregory Crosby is joining us. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing excellent, Doc. How are you?
Good. Are you ready to talk about Madhouse?
I am so ready to talk about Madhouse. I thought of nothing else all day.
Mad about Madhouse.
All right. Before we get going into our review, in which we will talk. We'll do a little intro about the film. We'll give our first impressions, and we'll also go into cast of characters. We'll look at the marketing and the cast and crew, and then we'll have some feedback. But first, Jeff has a little bit to say about Play Now Media.
Well, yeah, we partner with Play Now Media, and if you go to playnowmedia.com, you can see a whole list of all their subgenre streaming channels, and you could just go to the channel and watch it, and you'll get ads. There'll be some premium content that you won't be able to see, or you can subscribe, and then you'll get to see everything without ads. And the reason you should do that is because Decades of Horror of the 1970s is on their Wicked Horror TV channel. So you could check us out there too.
It's wicked.
They got a lot of, they got some really crazy old movies on there.
All right. Well, with that, let's get into our review. Madhouse from 1974, directed by Jim Clark, written by Ken Levinson. He did screenplay. Greg Morrison also did the screenplay. And it's based on the 1969 novel Devil Day from Angus Hall. And then Robert Quarry did some dialogue and text, uncredited, probably reason. The cast includes Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Robert Quarry, Adrienne Corri. Did I say Quarry and Corey? Anyway, Natasha Pine, Linda Hayden, Julie Crosswaith, and Jenny Lee Wright. Production company is AIP and Amicus co-production. Filming locations was England, West Byfleet, Newham, Weybridge, Westminster, Twickenham.
How English can you get? Wow.
Twickenham Studios was the interior.
Filming dates were May 14th to late June in 1973. The release date was May 24th, 1974 in the US and November 74 in the UK. Synopsis is, a horror movie star returns to his famous role after years of mental institution, but the character seems to be committing murders independent of his will.
Seems
Cue music. All right. I chose this. Should I go first? Is that the way we want to do it?
Sure.
I think so.
All right. I'll go ahead and do that. Because I chose this mainly because it's Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Robert Quarry, Adrienne Corri. I want to see Peter Cushing and Vincent Price act together mainly, and I had seen this film ages ago, forgotten most of it other than the facts and the look of Dr. Death. And wish I had seen in magazines and the second Dr. Death in books as well, the famous one where he's coming out in black and white. And it was time. It was just time to do it. And I was very happy to see it. It hit all my happy buttons. Is it flawed? Yeah. We'll get into that. There's some scenes that kind of make it, like, well, that don't make no damn sense. But it's just seeing Vincent Price eat some scenery and Peter Cushing, kind of lurking in the background a lot of the film, and see Vincent Price give devil eyes to Robert Quarry for reasons. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. At least it was for me. I enjoyed it. But let's find out what the rest of the crew thought. And I want to pass this over to our guest, Gregory Crosby. So what did you think, sir, of this film? Is this the first time you saw it? Did you see it back in the day? And don't hold back.
The first time I saw Madhouse was this morning. I knew it existed, of course, because that makeup that Price wears as Dr. Death is very iconic, and seen photos of it in numerous horror magazines, including Famous Monsters of Filmland. But I'd always avoided it because its reputation was so dismal. And now I know why. For this film is so dismal. This is such a last gasp for both American International Pictures and Amicus. This is not a good film. It is a terrible script. I mean, a really, 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 a really bad script. And I think both Price and Cushing knew it, because it really feels like Price is merely phoning it in throughout this film. Cushing a little less so, but Cushing is given so little to do until the very end, when of course then he's great. That there's just this sense that, can we just get through this? This makes no sense whatsoever. It's the thing that most struck me. I'm watching it this morning was this is 1973 that they're making this. And when I say last gasp, you think about what else was happening in horror in that year and this time period. Because the sad fact is this is not great, but it's a great idea. And obviously, having Vincent Price play a former horror movie star, the meta aspect of it would be great. But nothing about this quite works. And it's tricky because the standard for a lot of the tropes in this movie the bar has already been set pretty high. Aging horror star confronted with real horror. Well, you've got Boris Karloff and Peter Bogdan's Targets in 1969. Actor who is completely unhinged and is turned into a murderer. Well, Price has already given the performance of his career in Theater of Blood in 1970 as that. And then you have, monstrous icon that's famous in horror, Dr. Death. Price has already embodied a character, a Dr. Death character, far scarier and more disturbing than any Dr. Death could be. And that, of course, is Dr. Phibes. So if you're a horror fan and you sort of have that context, you come to Madhouse, which, by the way, why is this called Madhouse and not Dr. Death, with a feeling of like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to enjoy it for Vincent Price and Peter Cushing. But Price's performance in this, his character's arc should be that of someone who's been traumatized by the death of his beloved and been in mental hospitals and is only now trying to get back into the swing of things. But from scene to scene, there's no there's no continuity in Price's performance. In the way there should be this slow building of him thinking, am I really insane? Do I have these blackouts and I go and kill these people? And instead you just have one scene where he's like, oh, I don't know, well, maybe Dr. Death is, and the next scene he's just kind of like a cranky actor who's kind of like sitting around going, yeah, this again. It's really, really, really strange. We'll get into some of the scenes that and it makes no sense whatsoever, neither in terms of plot nor in terms of how the movie sort of shifts out. And it's a bit of a drag because it is Vincent Price looking great in many scenes, and Peter Cushing with very little to do, and who is so obviously what you then realize he is very early on in the movie, that there is no tension or suspense whatsoever in how the movie sort of plays out. So I can't say that I enjoyed this movie, but I'm glad that I finally saw it because, as we know, if you are a fan of Vincent Price or Peter Cushing, sooner or later, you have to see everything, including Madhouse. So I'll leave it at that for the time being and turn it back over to the others.
Yes. Yes. Oh my.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't enjoy it.
Oh.
I'm not giving you the full Chad. I hated this movie. I didn't hate this movie, but yeah, it was very, very not what I was hoping it would be.
I think I'd rather have you enjoy it, even if you hated it.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down. The full Chad.
The full Chad.
Yeah.
For future reference. Right?
Okay.
There you go.
Noted.
Phil Mulligan, sir. When did you first see this? What was your first impression?
I could well have watched it with Gregory this morning because that's the first time I saw it. Now, I thought I had seen it, but then I came to realize that, as is often the case, I'm confused. And I had it mixed up with both Dr. Death, Seeker of Souls, and House of the Long Shadows. And then I quickly realized, wait a minute, none of those have that picture of Vincent Price as a skull face. So I quickly looked up, read a few reviews, most of which trash this movie. I'm like, well, okay, let me slog through this. I didn't hate it, and I did enjoy it. I actually had a good time watching this movie, despite its flaws. It does not have a great script. It is so painfully obvious who the bad guy is. And let me just, we are a spoiler podcast. We're going to spoil the crap out of this, but listen, if in one of the very first scenes, when we first see Peter Cushing, who looks great, and Vincent Price goes out of his way to say, and he used to be an actor, but discovered he could make you do much better with writing. And if you know anything about story structure or writing or plotting or anything, you say to yourself, why was that information just given to me? Why isn't it just he's the writer? But no, I got a little bit of backstory here. Is this going to come into play? Bet it is. And immediately you start thinking, nobody wants to be the writer in Hollywood. It's the oldest joke in Hollywood. Did you hear about the actress? So stupid she slept with the screenwriter. Yeah, it's the writer gets nothing. Everyone wants to be the star. This guy used to be an actor. He wrote, and his creation, because he created this character, is now being played by someone else who's so famous they got to bring him out of retirement to bring the series back. Duh. Of course it's Peter Cushing running around with the mask. Couldn't be anyone else. For a movie that makes its one big joke about red herrings, there are no red herrings. There's no one else who could even plausibly be the killer. Except Robert Quarry, and he's too obvious. All that being said, yeah, you're right. Vincent Price is not having the time of his life, but somehow that kind of makes it work because his character is also not having the time of his life making this movie. And the hostility between him and Quarry is well documented, and that comes across too. And the affection between him and Peter Cushing is also well documented, and that kind of comes through up until the end when they're trying to kill each other. I'm tired of these movies. Yeah. I'm tired of these movies where, it's like, hey, we've got Christopher Lee and Vincent Price in Scream and Scream Again. Oh, they have no scenes together, but they're in the same movie. It's like, oh my God, what's wrong with you people? You had Peter Cushing in Dr. Phibes Rises Again. Does he meet Dr. Phibes? He does not. Like, just wasting these opportunities. And at least this one, we actually have some interaction between these icons.
All three of them.
Yeah, and the women that are in this are all interesting actresses who I like quite a bit. So it's got a lot going for it, but it's not the movie it should have been. But it moves reasonably quick, and I just had a very good time watching it. My expectations were so low going in. Maybe that's what I should do for every movie. I really didn't expect to like it at all for all the reasons I just said. No, those reasons were really valid. So I had a good time. But yeah, given that premise and given the cast that they had, there is a much better story that could have been told. But I think you may actually find yourself enjoying, like I did, more than you thought you would.
Unless Yeah, let you know. Jeff, sir.
Unless you go full Chad on it.
Yeah, don't go full Chad. Never go full Chad.
Okay, tiebreaker here.
Jeff, what did you think of this film? Have you seen it before? All that.
I had not seen it before, and it's got kind of a checkered history in a way. I mean, Kino Lorber put out a Blu-ray and they botched it.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
The sound and the video was out of sync, so then they had to put out a notice that when they fixed it, they would replace everybody that had bought one up till then. And supposedly they did. I mean, I think they did. That's all I know about that. I enjoyed it, and I'll tell you what I enjoyed. I loved the scenes with Price and Cushing, and I guess I don't understand farming it in because it seemed like Price was played it a lot angrier than he normally does, but I think I think that's the way they were going with it. I don't think, and maybe it was his choice. I don't know. And maybe it's because the director was a world-class editor. That this was his fourth and last feature film directing. But I don't know. I was okay with it. There's nothing spectacular about it, but I just kind of love seeing Vincent Price and Peter Cushing and Robert Quarry and the one particular woman. Who's the woman that played
Adrienne Corri?
Adrienne Corri.
Yeah, Adrienne Corri. They were awesome.
Who also had great scenes with Vincent Price.
Yeah, all the women in this were great.
Yeah.
So I liked. I don't know. I guess I'd like to hear what tells you they were farming it in, because the director says he thought Robert Quarry was farming it in, and then says because he went to France every weekend, and I don't think he was supposed to do that.
I think it felt phoning it in the sense that Price realized just how bad the script was.
Oh, that's absolutely true.
And I feel like from scene to scene, and maybe it was just badly edited. I don't know. It felt like that character, the paranoia and the sort of trauma and all of the sort of horror for that character should have just been building and building throughout everything that happened. And the tone with which Price approached many of the scenes as things were happening felt so completely not where that character should be. In a lot of ways, it just felt very. It really felt like Price was just like, well, it doesn't matter, and then this isn't phoning it in, but at the end, when of course he has gone quite insane, he goes into full Vincent Price mode, which you have not seen at all in the movie up to this point. I think maybe, and again, it's the one of the problems of being a fan who's seen a lot is that I couldn't help putting the movie into context in my mind with all of those other really great Price performances, which are all right around the same time. And then to add insult to injury, keep inserting which makes no sense whatsoever, except that this is an American international production, sequences from better movies. That are supposedly part of Paul Tomb's past career, where Price is, great. I loved in the credits. Special presentation by special participation from Boris Karloff and Basil Rathbone. I'm like, yeah, it's very special participation.
Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead, and you have footage of them in better movies from a decade previously that you then.
But we don't care about special presentations of any of the other people in this movie.
And the worst thing is that here's scenes from Paul Tomb's previous film, Dr. Death films, and except for one little insert at the very beginning, he's not in the Dr. Death makeup. It's so painfully obvious.
You're
not that Dr. Death is that's such a great look that Price has, as we've discussed. He looks so great in that makeup, that hat, the cloak, everything was so fantastic. And then we get no sense of Dr. Death as being a true great horror monster icon at all from the actual film itself. And then when the actual Dr. Death shows up, he's in a Skeletor mask, and you're like, oh, womp womp. So that was really, it just felt like there were so many scenes where Price just felt like, and I'll tell you, one of the things I did love about this, because again, it just makes no sense whatsoever, but it was fun, was the fact that they're having the I guess first day cast party, and everybody dresses up in horror. They're having a horror masquerade party. There's that great scene where Price is like he still has some makeup on, but he's got his mask pulled up, and he's just sitting on the couch in the middle of the party. He looks like he couldn't be more bored and weary of all of this bullshit, especially Robert Quarry's bullshit. And he's just like, oh, and I just thought, well, let's just watch this movie. I just want to see Price, this actor as just being like so out of it, so over it in the midst of this very strange, masquerade dress up party. Things like that were really like fun. And then there was no sense that it's one of those movies where you have a sense where it's like, well, let's just do this. Let's just try this for this next scene, without any story.
Okay.
I was gonna say I like the masquerade party because Robert Quarry looked like
Count Yorga.
Yeah,
Count Yorga.
Yeah, true.
And Peter Cushing looked like Tender Dracula, which I don't.
Yeah, I was just going to say like Tender Dracula.
I'm going to put this back up for a second, Doc, so I can see everybody can see their names. So you make it sound like it's a bad script. Well, first, so they first gave it to they bought the book in 1970, and then it got delayed for a bunch of reasons. The reasons, right? And then in the meantime, they asked Murray Smith, who they described as Pete Walker's writer, wrote the first script. And then they didn't like that. So then they gave it to Greg Morrison. And so Price is there. And Clark, the director, is there. And Price says, "Have you read the script?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's terrible. It's actually absolutely terrible. Well, can't we give it?" Well, they gave it to this Levison, who was on a movie. He was on a movie just before that Clark worked on for Schlesinger. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway,
Sunday.
So that was Sunday. Yes. And Levison came in, and it sounds like he rewrote daily. And then dropped the new pages off at Clark's door in the morning. And he read it on the way into the studio and made notes. And then they had the script continuity person type it up as fast as they could.
Yeah,
nightmare.
And give it to the actors. So
that's exactly what a lot of those scenes felt like.
Yeah, I can see that now. Yeah. Another thing I noticed to support what you're saying, Gregory, is that there's a point where he's convinced that he blacks out and kills these women, and he's like, "I'm getting out of here," and the cops stop him, take him, to Scotland Yard, and have an interesting conversation, and he gets all snooty, and that was fun. But then he just goes right back, like nothing had happened. Like
exactly. That's when there's no.
And it's like, well, wait a minute.
I noticed that too.
The reason that happens is so we can have the comic relief, kind of like black comic relief of the couple, the adopted parents of the first victim trying to blackmail him.
10,000 pounds.
It's funny.
Yeah, that was great. Like you squash the director. Now, on a real movie, that's a big deal. That gets a lot of attention. Never mentioned again. He goes on a TV show and they're like, "So tell us about some of the movies you made." Not the squashing the director thing. What happened there? What was that
also, I am not. Sadly, I did not become a filmmaker. But wouldn't a prop like that or a device like that in a film be built with an emergency stop so it never actually reached the bed? I feel like
it's easy to be a backseat prop.
I preface this with, I am not a professional filmmaker, but it seems to me from my reading that there's no way you would have a prop like that in a TV show or a movie that actually could crush somebody.
Well, you say that, but how many people have actually been shot on Hollywood movies?
Oh my God! But apparently, the on-screen screenwriter knew how to alter how the bed would work and prevent it from actually stopping. So,
did you notice how when Price was under it and it was coming down on him later when they? I think that's when.
Yeah.
Flay is doing it to him. He at the last second rolls out from under it, and then it drops the last 2 feet all at once.
All at once, yeah.
Did you notice that? It's real slow going down until there's nothing,
know,
and then it's like,
That's
oh,
safety
just
feature,
missed
yeah.
it.
But see,
Just
here's the thing. I knew I was in trouble at the very beginning when he touches his fiance's head, and her head just rolls off her body because of course her head has been severed and then just very carefully placed on top of the neck and just
Very
stayed there,
difficult
as
to do.
severed heads will do if
Yeah.
you place them back on the severed neck.
Well, the trick is you got to wait for the stump and the head part to the
To get
blood to kind of
sticky.
thicken up and get sticky, and then they will stick together.
Yeah, I mean, it's very. The moment I saw
I
that,
revealed too much.
A little chewing gum works too.
the moment I said, I thought, okay,
Writing that down for
what
future
kind of
reference.
movie I mean. But that said, we've all had those moments at the beginning of horror movies, and we just say, well, I'm just going to roll with it. It's ridiculous, but hey, that's okay. It's a horror movie. But there were the ridiculous things like that continued to happen throughout the movie. So Anyway.
They just was fights all the time, and it was either Sabatsky or Arkoff were bugging the crap out of him, and then they kept trying to put more blood in, and then even when Sabatsky stayed away, he would watch the dailies and then come in and make suggestions. And I don't know if they were supposed to refilm the scenes or edit it a certain way or something. And Clark said, well, some of them they followed, some of them they didn't. He was being nice though. They kept saying, the people on the film kept thinking they should have more blood because they, I mean,
It's 1973 for crying
out.
Right.
Yeah.
Exorcism,
And Arkoff kept saying, no, we don't do blood.
What can you do? All right. Well, we'll get to some more stuff as we get into the cast and characters and crew and all that stuff. But speaking of that, let's dive into our cast of characters. Here we are going to discover, the faces to the characters, which I think horror fans are going to know most of this. But let's go through it. Starting off with Paul Toombs, played by Vincent Price. He is the Shakespearean trained, always celebrated horror actor, famous for his iconic role as the skull-faced Dr. Death.
And in the novel, he was known as Dr. Dis, which I didn't think Dis became popular until like the 80s.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm not selling that novel.
Yeah, this image I almost thought was not from this film, but this is when they're in the basement. And when they're in the basement, it kind of goes for a different color scheme.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, which
and Phase, it's funny because I just listened to the Mystery of the Wax Museum episode yesterday, and all that talk about green and red, Technicolor. Just imagine Faye's spider-loving character in that classic green and red. I mean, literally green and red. That entire thing was just suffused in green, and then with her like red hair. It was actually visually, it was really that was one of the things about the movie I really enjoyed, was that whole just sort of like.
I wish they'd done more with this. Who's the director of Dr. Phibes? How do you pronounce his last name? Dr. Fust. Oh yeah, he was supposed to direct this, and then somehow that didn't happen. And you think, listen, keep the script, keep all the idiosyncrasies and problems and everything, but throw in that guy's visual style and sense of camp. We got a whole different ball game going.
And how fantastic would it have been if instead of Dr. Death, we'll just make it Dr. Phibes.
I was going to say, whatever was coming back for Dr. Phibes.
Wouldn't that be the most amazing?
And Phil Maida, that would be like Scream before its time, a movie about the actor, playing the character, and that would have been awesome.
Yep.
Oh well.
Well,
what do we think of Paul Toombs and his descent into madness twice?
I already sort of explained that either because of the script or Price just being like whatever, the character is all over the place. I didn't really believe in the character. I believed in the character for the scene I was watching him in, and then immediately started disbelieving the character in the following scene. Yeah. And then had to sort of ramp up and go, okay, all right. He's a character who should have been and if it had been written properly, it would have been really, it would have worked really well. It's a character who should have been truly like, I'm fighting for my sanity, truly fighting for my sanity with every moment that I've been pulled back, and he should have been so reluctant to have anything to do with this. And there was just no, except for a couple of scenes where he's kind of like, there was no real sense of that. There was no real, I mean, Price was sort of saying it, but I didn't believe it.
Yeah, there were times when it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like when he's in the bed and he's like looking at the glove and wondering what's going on. And then the interview, he starts losing it too. And you can see him sweating, and he's like, because he was kind of losing it going in there, and he kind of stumbles into the set, which obviously nobody knew he was going to be there except for, the people that were supposed to be there didn't know they were supposed to be there because they were going to meet in somewhere else.
But
I thought that worked. And of course, we get more scenes from other films.
I mean, that's a nice idea to have him chased into his interview. You know, from his life. And next thing you know, he's got to be the professional. Like, oh, yes, hello, Michael Parkinson. I'll sit down in front of you. It was,
And the stuff he was saying about horror, it sounded very much like what he would have been saying on the Mike Douglas show.
Right.
That's true. It probably did.
Just to give you an idea of what the book is about, and I'll quit talking about it, but the book was decidedly more, the character was much more despicable. Like how you would imagine a devil cult leader, I guess. And a quote from the book was, Toombs said, "I've come to play the devil. You see, I have this sexual headache. I mean, each day I'm beaten about the skull by the club of Priapus. So I take a woman for this headache like other people take aspirin.
I got a fever, and the only cure is more women."
That was the nice part. There was
that sounded here is the clatter of keys as listeners look up Priapus.
I pronounce it both ways just in case.
Beaten about the head. That's
there you go. Actually. And that comes from this book. I just wanted to throw this up. Witches, Bitches, and Banshees from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yay, Little Shop of Horrors.
$60 is the price. Plus shipping, but it is very high quality
price, but worth it. That's the thing. Little Shop of Horrors is always
300 and I think it's like 350 pages.
Oh, it's like, geez, they're
fairly fine print. Yeah. The subtitle is The British Films of American International Pictures. So, and in the back, Bill, you may use this for a future panel. There's a list of AIP proposed films that were never made.
Ooh. Okay.
Well, that also sounds like a found poem. I think I know.
There's a lot of them.
Oh, I see $60 flying away. Nah, that's fine. Okay. That's a sale right there. Beautiful cover too. Dang.
Yeah. Very nice.
By John Hamilton. Who's the writer and published by Little Shop of Horrors magazine.
Forward by Gordon Hessler. What?
Which has been around for over 50 years, and then their last issue is being published this summer.
Yeah, it's a real loss.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right. We'll get back into it. Let's move on to
Peter.
Peter Cushing as Herbert Flay, grandfather of Bobby Flay. No, I'm just kidding. Herbert Flay is a genial yet duplicitous, I can't say it right now, British screenwriter and longtime friend to horror star Paul Toombs.
Now, if somehow you didn't figure out from the obvious introduction that he's the bad guy, surely you figured it out when it turns out that he's got his insano wife down in the basement with a bunch of spiders.
Well, even before that, when he insists that Paul revisit one of his films, and he's got the projector all set up, and he turns it on, it's the hypnosis scene with Basil Rathbone, and clearly, and then he leaves the room with a smile on his, a smirk. He's smirking. The moment that happens, you go, oh, it's if you hadn't figured it out by then, it's like, oh, well, clearly he's this is all part
and
of
if somehow Nancy Drew, you missed all of these obvious things, the fact that he disappears for like a big chunk of the movie, like where the hell is Peter Cushing? Okay, when that happens, when a character that they make a big deal of in the first act disappears in the second act. I guarantee he's showing up in the third act as the one who is manipulating events all along.
Yeah. But you do get to have the I don't know, the dubious pleasure of seeing Peter Cushing in the you know, the beginning of the movie takes place, I don't know, I think it's supposed to take place in the early 60s, even though everyone is dressed as if it is 1973. They give him this dye job in his hair. He's wearing this like dark black hair, and it just looks so strange. You look at it and go, Peter, what have they done to you? What is going on?
They thickened it up. They thickened it up.
Still better than the one they gave him for Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell, but
yes.
Yeah. So, they're trying to de-age everybody.
Yeah, it was very strange. But again, it's the kind of thing where you're like, okay, it's 10 years earlier. Okay, fine, we'll just roll with it. Yeah.
He looked good, and in the early scenes when he's being genial instead of duplicitous, you get a real sense. You get a real sense of the real Peter Cushing, who I met once in my life, but is one of those people who, one of those really good actors, charisma that just pouring off of him, and would speak to you. Here I am, I'm I don't know, 16-year-old kid or something, and he speaks to you like he's known you his whole life and you're best buddies.
Yeah,
he was such a sweet guy. I mean, I assume I haven't heard too many people say anything bad about Peter Cushing.
Well, the ultimate professional, and someone who you can just, even if he's playing Baron Frankenstein, you know that he is in fact one of the kindest people imaginable.
So it was a cool thing to see him kind of play against type. We're so used to seeing him. Well, I wouldn't say always as the good guy. I mean, he is when he's Van Helsing, but he can play a real son of a bitch when he's Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And here he gets to do a little of both.
Yep. Yeah.
And I really did feel for this character at the end when he's talking about, the writer's plight.
Yes.
And it's like, I know where you're coming from, dude. Still, and although this movie is another one of those let's drive Vincent Price crazy plots. And I just want to say, one, that's not a long drive, considering the characters he's playing, and you're not going to like the destination. You'll probably succeed in driving him crazy. And then at some point, right before you die, you'll be like, I think I severely made a bad life choice.
I should amend my previous statement too. I really did enjoy that final scene and final confrontation with him.
Oh, so fun, dude! And he looked so lively, especially during a time that that wouldn't necessarily be the outcome.
Yeah, I felt like when they were having the duel on the stairs, it was clearly Peter Cushing, and it was clearly a stand-in for Price.
I didn't notice that. I was focused on Peter.
Because my first thought was, okay, let's see how well he did with the stand-ins, and it was like, okay, that looks like Peter Cushing doing his best sort of dueling with the, as he forces him down in the basement, but you don't see Price's face at all. And I'm like, interesting.
Now, do you know, Jeff? Does anyone know, was Peter Cushing playing the Dr. Death under the mask?
I don't know that. I don't know.
I feel like now, of course, by this point, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, this is obviously Peter Cushing. Maybe I talked myself into it. I thought he ran like Peter Cushing. I haven't seen Peter Cushing running a lot, but I've seen it enough that
considering they like one of the things that kept happening. The director also said you never knew where the location was. He'd find locations, and then they would say, "Nah, that cost too much." And then they would find their own location and then send them to it in the morning. He'd go to locations he'd never been to, and so there was all that stuff is going on. But with Peter Cushing, what I was going to say is there was some interaction going on, or some actual fighting going on between him and Price, because Price said he was one of the strongest men he'd ever seen, and when he threw you across the room, he threw you.
Good to know.
Yeah,
the real problem with Herbert Flay being in fact Dr. Death throughout the movie is that toward the climax, he is clearly sitting in the audience of Michael Parkinson's chat show when he has just supposedly been either trying to kill Vincent Price's character or actually killing the assistant Julie. He's clearly sitting there, and then there's another shot where Robert Quarry comes in the implication being like, oh, Robert Quarry just slipped in because he's actually Dr. Death, and Peter Cushing is still sitting right there, obviously. Robert Quarry.
Yeah, and if he came back in and Peter Cushing was gone,
yeah,
that would have been a subtle way to really win it.
Yeah, and it was not. It was Peter Cushing was in both of those shots, and it was weird. It was weird to me even then, even before the end of the movie, because I thought, wait a minute, am I wrong? Am I somehow wrong about who the actual Dr. Death is? How is it possible? And then I realized, oh no,
it's the editor that's wrong.
Yeah. Well, he was wearing black. He was wearing black when he was sitting there.
It doesn't.
It wasn't enough black, but he was wearing black. My favorite scene with him, outside of scenes with Vincent Price, all the scenes, is when he is given the reel of the death because Vincent Price films it. And I was like, okay, now he's watching a snuff film, but this is interesting. But he has such an expression of joy on his face. He's all slumped back and he's just like, I was like, that's the Peter Cushing we want. That is so much fun.
And honestly, one of the most effective scenes in the movie is when Vincent Price seems to step out of the movie.
Right.
And you have that split second of like, oh God, is this actually a supernatural film? Is this going to go in the supernatural route? And you realize, oh no, he's just imagining this whole thing. It's all in his head. But it's so, that little bit is so well done and coming out of the screen that for a second you're like, oh shit. It was really that was a nice moment. Yeah.
He wasn't dead.
And then there is somebody mentioned this like makeup of both of them together. There's this weird scene where because Vincent Price is now all scarred up, and him and Adrienne Corri's character, who we'll get to here in a second, are like applying makeup to his face. And he's supposed to look like like Peter Cushing, but he has Vincent Price's jaw. And it was like, well, that's
he's trying to make himself physically look like Paul Toombs at the end,
right?
Like that.
Right.
So
but it looked like
you can't really be Dr. Death unless you also become Paul Toombs, I think was the implication there. So,
but you know what? He'll get away with it because nobody knows what the writer looks like.
So you okay? I was thinking it was Vincent Price putting on the makeup to look like Peter Cushing. That's how I took it.
That's what
you're saying, that it was Peter Cushing trying to.
The whole thing happens in Peter. Yeah, but
because I thought, but Peter Cushing falls into that grave thing at the bottom of the.
And the spiders eat him up.
Yeah, the whole thing is a hallucinatory fantasy, and just him and his wife are just, it's a whole, because I'm saying this as if this movie makes any sense.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm saying this, I'm realizing, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Just let it not make any sense. So Your Honor, I withdraw my comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and that's some interesting subtext that
Well, I got to go back and look at that last shot again. It's hard to say whether when it's not quite, the face isn't totally right for either one of them to say which way, who is going which direction.
Right.
Neither explanation makes a lick of sense. So
no.
Right. That's right.
No.
That's right.
No, not at all. Oh, and of course, we have Robert Quarry, who was at this time being groomed as a new horror icon.
Yeah, but look at the expression on his face. That's a man who's come to the realization it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
and there's a huge gap. There's a huge gap, like right around this time. He made the movies that we know him, and then nothing until Fred Olen Ray hires him, like 10, 15 years.
After this movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, he does. Doesn't he do Sugar Hill after this?
Yes.
Or is it before this?
Maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, they're all clustered in that 72 to 75.
But that's the only.
You guys have done both of the Count Yorga movies, yes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
They're so goofy.
Yeah.
I like Robert Quarry. I don't know
film.
why they thought they were going to be grooming him to be the next Vincent Price, because he doesn't look significantly younger that much than Vincent Price. I mean, he is younger, but not by a whole lot.
He's perfectly fine in this role.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's an asshole.
Sugar Hill was before this.
Asshole, yeah. What was that?
Sugar Hill was before this, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Released the same year. I don't know about the filming dates.
From the interviews I've seen with him and people who knew him, he seems like kind of a likable guy, willing to spill some tea and stuff. Made no bones about the dislike that he and Price had for each other. He played jerks and assholes real well.
Yep.
But for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. I don't know why.
Yeah, and we'll dig deeper in that when we get to the cast, because you've got all his films.
Yeah, but as a character here, he was perfect. He was a jerk, a louse, a creep.
Oh man, and he tore into Price at the beginning, or at least not tore in like that sounds, but he underhandedly tore into him by revealing what his Vincent Toombs' future wife had done in the past.
Yeah.
And but then of course that's the one thing that was like, well, there's your motivation if you want to make him a red herring, if you want to make him Dr. Death. He never got over what Price had supposedly done, or he himself had actually done it, and
right.
But again, you know what? This film makes no sense. Let's continue.
Yeah.
I'm doing it again. Just go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. But the character, is in bits and pieces at the beginning, and then as the film goes on, like after the scene that you described where he leaves and then comes back into the theater where they're recording the interview in the audience, after that he has like one more, maybe two more scenes, and that's it. He just disappears from the film.
He's not even a good red herring.
Yeah. Then we have Adrienne Corri as Faye Carstairs.
She's great.
She's great, even though it makes no sense. But then that's
the whole that whole subplot makes zero sense. But she's very good.
Yeah. So she was with Quarry, seemingly unhappy that Vincent Price was marrying this ex-adult star.
Yes.
And then when all that goes sour, she marries Peter Cushing, but it's an unhappy marriage. And then she ends up in a car wreck, and now she's down in the basement. And she's into spiders. Doesn't make any remote sense whatsoever.
No
it's got
sense.
Nothing to do with anything. But she's fun to have around. It's just another one of those things that you feel like maybe these were the pages that got torn out when they were making changes.
And Price's character's reaction to all this is the same as if it's like, oh well, you remember Faye? Yeah, she was in an accident, so now she has to use a wheelchair. Oh, okay.
Yeah, who doesn't have a crazy wife down in the basement?
Yeah, under a sickly two-tone Technicolor green light with nothing but tarantulas for company.
And the injuries she has on her face are still fresh. Like, it's been how many years? Put a Band-Aid on it,
it's completely.
It looks like she just
That makes no sense whatsoever. But she was great.
Yeah, and he never confronts Flay about it. Peter Cushing.
Yeah,
never confronts him.
I think they mentioned
he just rolls with it, like,
stuff happens.
Yeah. He's like,
but if they were leaning into the downward spiral that Toombs was dealing with, it would have made some more sense.
Right.
Yeah, I think Toombs. If I had been Toombs, I'd been like, I'm going to stay in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Ritz is nice. I think I'm going to go stay at the Ritz.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You tell me you got raccoons in your basement. I don't want to stay at the house. You got like a crazy wife.
Yeah,
she's very good she's very good. She is chewing scenery, but she is chewing it in that very slow, subtle, delicious way that is very effective.
Yeah,
so I did enjoy that.
I enjoyed every scene with her. I think you said earlier, lean into that more, and it would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, from here we go into our cast of victims, our characters of victims. We're starting off with
Julia.
What's that?
Yeah,
Natasha as Julia.
I wanted Julia to survive.
Yeah. She was a genuinely nice person.
She was very nice.
Yep, and she was on to and she was on to what happened, even though she was thinking it was Quayle as well. But when she read the contracts, she figured out who it was, but she never got to tell anybody. Didn't even tell us, the audience. We knew already for other reasons, but
if you hadn't figured it out by now. I will say the one genuine bit of horror wit that was in this is with the elevator, because we've already established that Vincent Price runs the elevator, closed the doors, and the guy, almost got it open but didn't. And then she does the exact same thing, and we're set up to believe she also got away. And then inexplicably this time, boom, it opens up, and you're like, okay, that was good. That was well set up. They established that she should have gotten away, but she didn't.
I have to say, when his cloak got caught in the elevator doors, I thought, oh, is this he's going to get stuck, and there's going to be like this whole. My first thought was he's going to get stuck, and the elevator is going to keep going down, and it'll just like but that was not what happened.
No, it was just a.
It was just a visual flourish.
Yeah, or a blooper they kept in.
Yeah, or right.
Her death is the triggering anguish, of all this, because that's what sends him into. Because he no longer calls her Julia, he calls her Ellen, the one that passed away, and he's gone bonkers at this time. And I bought that. I know that somebody, I think you weren't really into it there, Gregory, but I bought that would trigger him because she's the only person he liked.
No. That I totally bought that. It just it just came very. Again, you could. I think as Bill mentioned, you could see the outlines of a much better version of this basic story that was happening. And again, that's not to go back to Mystery of the Wax Museum, but I was very bemused that when he begins to burn himself and everything up, they has clearly swapped her out for a wax dummy. They had those weird close-ups of her face. At first, you think she's crying. You're like, "Wait, what?" And you realize, oh, it's a wax dummy. She's melting.
Yeah, and then the eyelashes were burning off, and it was weird. It was like, "What the heck?"
Again, if this had been the movie that it could have been, would have been another wonderfully meta touch of like, "Oh wow, suddenly it's a wax dummy. This is a throwback to Vincent Price and House of Wax." Oh, how meta! But that's not what this movie is.
No, it's kind of there, but not there.
Yeah.
And, I'm not really sure what they're going for, because I don't even know how they would have thought that would have achieved what they were going for.
Her death is a surprise, because usually in a movie when there's a bunch of unlikable characters who are becoming victims, there's the one likable character who will be the one to walk away at the end and give the audience something to hold on to. But that wasn't the case. She did not get away, and that did take me by surprise.
Yeah, and her death was necessary for the Toons character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the 70s. Everything is, just run into a train at the end of the movie, kind of. Yeah. All right. Then the Hayden.
Now, she, on the other hand, had it coming. I mean, damn.
Well, she was
Yeah.
But Linda Hayden's playing Elizabeth Peters, whose parents have a wonderful.
Yeah. Well, in fairness to her, she wasn't raised right. Clearly.
Yeah. Really, and you see why. Yeah.
No, that's true. It just seemed very odd until the subplot came in. But when they tell her, "Oh, we found your adopted daughter's body," they walk away smiling from the whole thing. That shot, you're just like, "Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say that one very sort of effective, just sort of, dare I say, poetic shot in this is Dr. Death putting her corpse, into that boat, and then just letting that boat.
Oh yes,
that was a nice shot. It was a
really nice shot. It was one of those things where you're like, oh, I wish this shot is better than this movie.
Do you think?
I have to agree with maybe with Sabatsky, because when the boys first see her, I'm thinking like there should be a lot more blood, and then they cut these very demure pitchfork. Almost like a very toothy vampire. Yeah. But yeah, wow, what a perfectly obnoxious character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then does it seem like, I don't know. I mean, she could be in there, but they could have pulled her parents out and it would have made almost no difference, except there'd have been 2 less victims.
Right.
Well,
they added nothing to the.
No.
Well, they had some humor.
They were just weird.
It was humor. They were just. It was that. I think that was supposed to be very common.
It was a cool double shish kebab there, but
yeah, it was. But I like that whole 10,000 pounds and the way the dialogue interacted back and forth with them, or how they delivered that dialogue. I thought
they're like 10,000 pounds. What the hell are you smoking?
Yeah. Also, it would have been nice to. It made sense that she tried to ingratiate herself on the boat and tried to do all that stuff. I don't know if I could quite believe that she was going to track him down to the house, to to Peter Cushing's house to find him after he told her in no uncertain terms to fuck off. I thought that was very. I thought that was like, wow. It would have been nice if it had been established that like it would have been, again, in the better version of this movie. It's like, I've loved Dr. Death since I was a
She's an
little girl.
uber fan. Yeah.
That would have been a whole, and you would have understood like, oh, she is really.
Yeah, and she would have. Yeah, she could have been a better red herring if she hadn't died first, right? Yeah. Because she was still like
right. She's
around.
a fan. Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah. Just all you had to do was shift her death.
And her death was pretty good. I think it's the classic trick of the tricked up pitchfork pulled backwards and then reverse the film, but it was effective. It looked good.
Yeah. And it's and there's great shots of it in magazines too, with him not of her, but of him coming with the pitchfork. Those shots I remember from magazines, books. Then we have this is Ellen Mason, played by Julie Crowthwaite. This is the what's that? Somebody said something.
Oh, I just she was I just said poor Ellen, immediately slut shamed.
Yeah. Really, and
films,
in a kind of in a modern way, right? It's kind of like predating what goes on now.
If only Paul Coombs had been like, "Wow, you're in adult films. All right, baby, this is exciting. Hey, I'm marrying well." Then there's no movie, unfortunately.
Right.
Let's go watch them.
Yeah. But he after his little power nap, he did wake up and come to
bad about it.
Yes.
Because that really made us dislike that character.
Yeah.
Who we're supposed to be sympathetic to. He's
it's
like, dude, what, you're just now this is a problem for you and you're just now finding out about all this? It's like, okay.
Yeah. But you had to do that to make the insanity work and him.
He could have just looked up her IMDb profile and let the chips fall where they may, but
he didn't. There's probably a way he could have found it if he was Doug. But she did. I mean, she did a great job. She's a great screamer.
Yep.
Loses her head in a creative way.
Yep.
And then we have Jenna Lee Wright as Carol Clayton. Now this is she's Quayle's girlfriend, right?
Yes. Who's going to be
made. And she's the lead
star. Yeah.
She's going to be the Dr. Death the second.
The idea was to kill. Yep. Well,
unfortunately,
Doctor Who does it.
What they should have done
not very well.
They should have just had, like Doctor Who. They should have had Dr. Death just regenerate whenever the doctor had to quit. Then we'd now be on our 13th.
So listen, there was a point in this movie where I had some other stuff going on. And I may have missed something, but it seems like weird supernatural things start happening right before she's killed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What was that?
Another scene that makes no sense whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
She gets drunk and she starts getting mad at him. You mean after that?
No. I mean, when she's up playing football, he cuts the power, but all of a sudden, all of the things in the room with her start doing a maximum overdrive bit, where they're all just turning on by themselves, and you're just like, wait, how? I get that he's turned off the power but how is this all happening? There's no.
Suddenly out of nowhere, there's supernatural elements.
Yes.
Yep. She doesn't really have a big part, but it's interesting to. But that's all our cast that we're going to go to. But let's take a look at Dr. Death himself.
The thing, if you're going to kill someone, so what did Peter Cushing do? Peter Cushing killed her, put a rope around her neck, hoisted her body up.
Again, Vincent Price said that Peter Cushing was the strongest man.
Okay. They were trying to replicate the movies. Yeah. They were going with that at first.
I thought it had something to do with all the shit that was running. There was something that cranked up and
there was like an exercise machine with that little. Okay.
Okay, you guys are inventing things. All right, Dr. Death. Yeah. This is the Dr. Death version of the horror. That's the horror movie icon played by Vincent Price. Great makeup idea.
Great makeup.
And wonderfully illustrated.
It's cool makeup.
Monster magazines.
It screams less horror icon character to me as opposed to horror host on a TV station.
Mhm.
It's Dr. Death's terrifying movies of the public domain kind of thing. But it's a cool look. Yeah. 3D House of
Yeah,
Me.
3D House of Stewardesses.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I will say though, imagine again. It's a terrible thing to do. The thing like, oh, the movie that this could have been, because that's not what we have or what happened. But imagine a movie where, Vincent Price's character is slowly going insane and really thinking he's being taken over by Dr. Death, and you'd have all kinds of wonderful, scenes with him staring into a mirror, seeing himself in this makeup, talking to him, a la, Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man, sort of thing. Action. And you can see just how effective that makeup would be for that kind of riff or that kind of character.
Yeah, you could even take it a step further and actually have him look like a real skull instead of makeup in those instances. Yeah, there's a good movie here to be found.
Yeah.
And this is the other version of Dr. Death. This is Dr. Death 2 Murderer. What's funny is I have seen, in magazines, the pictures of both these characters, but I didn't really put together they're in the same movie.
Yeah. This one looks more like the Creeping Flesh.
Oh my God, I was going to say that, Phil. This totally looks like the Creeping Flesh.
Yeah. Look at those fangs. They're great. I mean, this is a great mask design too. And
except you would not be able to see out of this at all.
Well, that doesn't matter.
This is Ghostface before its time.
Right.
Like, no way
well, even the other one is. Even the makeup one is.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our cast of characters. Now we have something special there, Jeff. What are we?
Oh, I should start paying attention so I know when this comes up. And now it's time for Taglines with Chad, with the part of Chad played by Gregory Crosby.
All right, that's fine.
You thought you were going to get away with just doing the quote.
Look how smooth.
I thought once again, Bill, because he's a fellow writer, he knows how to betray. All right, taglines for the 1974 film Madhouse are as follows. There's only 4, so listen closely. Lights, camera, murder.
That sucks.
No.
Savior applause.
A, the insane took over the asylum.
That doesn't make any sense. That's a different movie.
Yeah, there's no Madhouse.
Well, it's in the Madhouse, right?
Called Madhouse.
Yeah.
Well, because somebody made a post. All right. If stark terror were ecstasy, living here would be sheer bliss.
Somebody said, "Here's a movie called Madhouse. Here's the makeup. Now write taglines. You don't need to know the story."
That's on the level of if you were crazy, you'd be home by now. And finally, do you dare spend a night in the madhouse? And that has been taglines.
Apparently, they do. Yes.
Wow.
And that's been Taglines with Chad, with the part of Chad played by Gregory Crosby.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad.
Greg.
With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
I just want to point out that I am also cool and rad. It's not just
Chad.
Sorry.
Certainly with that hat on.
Was up there. Let me jump in for just a second here, Doc. This is what happens in movies like this that have a bad title. The rest of the world can't figure out what to call it. So
no, here we go.
The working title was The Revenge of Dr. Death.
Much better.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. In Mexico, it was known as La Mansión Sangrienta, the Bloody Mansion.
No bloody mansion there.
Also in Mexico, it was known as Manicomio, which means asylum. It must be sort of like Maniac House. Manicomio, I don't know. Das Schreckenshaus des Dr. Death. Oh, and Bill's got a poster with this. Dr. Death's House of Horrors. The Demon in West Germany. Doden's Doctor in Denmark, Doctor of Death. In Brazil, a Casa das Rituais Satanicos, the House of Satanic Rituals. That happens quite a bit, right? Also, Death Day and the Madhouse of Dr. Fear. And what the hell are people doing?
Dr. Fear.
The only thing I think of, because this is again an Amicus co-production, is that Mill Sabotsky was just like, well, Asylum did really well. Let's call this Madhouse. That's the only. I can't think of any other reason why this movie is not called Dr. Death.
Yeah.
Asylum was re-released as House of Crazies.
When did Dr. Death, Seeker of Souls come out?
Don't know.
I'd go look myself. That would almost certainly freeze my
Those of you who wish to look this up, it's streaming on Tubi. Those of you who wish to look this up will find that there are a number of films called
Madhouse.
Yeah. It's a madhouse.
Except no substitutes.
All right. Let's dive into the marketing.
1973.
What's that?
Well, Dr. Death, Seeker of Souls beat this one to the...
Well, maybe that's why.
That may be why. Well, okay, we'll give him that.
All right. Here's the poster.
I love this poster. This is a great poster. They don't make them like this anymore, and it's cool. It's all collagey and everything.
Tagline off, it'd be a lot better.
Yes. Well, yes.
Oh God, yeah, that's a dumb one. But yeah, I mean, I would go. If I saw that, I would probably be itching to see the movie.
If I had any kind of graphic skills, I would just swap out the tagline for a quote from Vincent Price going, "It's my last one of my contract, folks. Here you go."
Oh my gosh! And here's another one where they focus on
they just put the skull
there.
there.
Spiders.
The extremely plastic coming down on a string spiders.
Oh yeah. Those tarantulas do not actually come down on webs, but okay.
Yeah. Well, not only that, they never mind. Well, she had real spiders crawling around on her hands, but the ones that went on the corpse,
I know,
were rubber spiders, and somebody was somewhere behind the screen wiggling them so that the legs would go.
So they put real spiders on the human person, and they put fake spiders on the corpse. Because what, the corpse, the fake plastic corpse is going to get the willies?
That's right.
People are always talking about.
Maybe spiders did.
People are always talking about using a time machine to go back and kill Hitler. I would just use a time machine to go back and fix all of the terrible fake bats in every vampire movie from.
Oh my God!
In other words, go back to
time
Hammer and just fix every bat they ever had.
Yeah, fix all the bats. Yeah,
all the bats.
I love Hammer. I love
charm
Hammer
would be
more than
lost.
anything, but every time there's a bat in a Hammer movie, and then you watch like Kiss of the Vampires, it's like, and you wish you were there for the plotting sessions, like, and then in the ending, an army of bats comes and kills all the vampires. Like, excuse me, you're Hammer. You can't do one bat to save your life.
But aren't those at least animated bats? Aren't those bats at least animated?
In the far shots, but when they show up and they start attacking the vampires, there they are in their little boingy string, and just like,
oh my God,
devil bat looks better than these.
Oh my God,
and they're like slow motion bats too. They're
fruit bats.
No, literally, that would be my time machine mission. Just going back and fixing. It would be the simplest thing. Imagine getting a time machine back 1931. Taking Todd Browning out, getting him drunk, sneaking back in, and just shooting every bat scene with just a shadow of a real bat on the wall.
Yeah.
You get a real bat, you let it fly, you let it shadow, and then you cut to Lugosi. How simple would that have been? Anyway.
Excellent use of time travel.
Yes, we're off on a tangent. What's next?
This is another poster. Which one is this?
This is from Germany, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
They weren't even trying.
Say that word again. Das what?
Schreckenhaus.
Schreckenhaus.
Which is a great word, Schreckenhaus.
Yeah,
that sounds like something you might be scared of.
Another one of those compound German words.
It's a house of Schrecken.
Yep. This is where I remember the makeup for Dr. Death in Madhouse. Is this famous Monsters of Filmland?
Oh wow.
109. Oh my God, this is.
And can I just
such a beautiful cover.
Yeah, I don't know if this is if this is Basil Gogos.
It is. Yeah.
This is just the photo. Look at the sort of terror and sadness in Paul Toon's eyes in this full makeup.
Mm-hmm.
This is why this is so iconic. He's not leering at you. He's not like trying to scare you. He looks terrified himself. And there's something immensely poignant about this, which I think is what makes it such an absolutely I mean, a memorable Go-Go's painting, but just a really memorable cover of Famous Monsters too.
And you look at this, it says famous monsters appear on TV's Monster Hall of Fame. I don't know for sure, but there was a TV special that I watched.
Yep.
And they had a scene from this movie. I'm thinking,
oh, did they?
Yeah, they had a bunch of scenes from some other cool stuff too. It was like, here's some old school monster Universal stuff, and here's some upcoming things. And the upcoming things were really intriguing to me as a kid.
Oh, I remember that special. Was John Astin in it? John Astin? I'm trying to remember, or was it, or because there was another one with Anthony Perkins, or maybe I'm thinking, yeah. But there was a couple specials they would do, throughout the later '70s about horror films and stuff. There was like, maybe one of them was like an awards or something. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I do remember. Oh, man. We got to look at that. Would just be a fun thing to review on its own. I'm sure it's out there.
Oh yeah.
All right. Now my copies of those. I had such a stack of those, and they were just at one point when I was a teenager in the '80s. They were just crumbling. They were just because we were printed on such cheap paper.
I've still got my Monster Times, but every time I read them, another piece
falls
away.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I've got
nothing good.
Full magazine box of Famous Monsters. And I have the first 300 issues of Fangoria.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I kept my Fangorias for much longer because they were printed on better paper.
Gore Zone.
I got all the Gore Zones. I got House of Hammer or Hammer and House of Horrors or something like that.
I had at least the first 2-3 years of Fangoria. Yeah.
Castle of Frankenstein.
Yep. Some of those. No,
so as a hat connoisseur, Gregory.
No, he's absolutely rocking. That is a big floppy fedora that nobody except Vincent Price.
Is
wearing.
But is it
in 1973?
What's it made of? Is where I was at.
My guess from as I was watching the film is my guess that fedora was either made of felt or a very fine beaver, because it had a certain sheen to it, certain texture in some of the shots that made it look like it wasn't just wasn't just a felt fedora, but it's sort of floppy in the way of a felt fedora. It's the brim does not have classic snap and shaping of. I'm weighing the weeds here with this. Let's move on out of my.
It is a different hat than this hat too.
It's it's supposed to you're supposed to think of like when you then see Dr. Death in that big floppy black fedora, you're supposed to go, oh right, it's like the white fedora he's wearing when he arrives. There's some things that are happening in this that are like that are thought out, but not many. So
I like to. This is Vincent Price, of course, that we're talking about here for those listening. And the middle shot, we have 3 shots. One is him in the makeup with his hair. Doesn't look like his hair in the rest of the movie, but that's a different story. And then the bottom one that we were talking about is him in his raincoat and a floppy fedora, looking rather snapper. Yeah, debonair. Snap. And then the one in the middle is him screaming. And I don't know if this, I think this is the original one where the wife's head, or the future wife's head falls off. But it's shot, what do you call the lens, Gregory?
I think it's isn't that a fisheye lens?
Kind of, it's distorting his features. It looks less like Vincent Price and more like Rip Taylor.
Yeah. I think both this shot and then when he finds Julie and they replicate this shot, I think both of those were fisheyes.
I love those shots. It usually I hate those kind of shots, but here it really accented the effect of what it's having on him.
It's the only time they use it in the movie.
Well, you don't want to use it.
When I think it was when the last one dies in the workout room, there was a weird kind of mirror maze kind of.
Well, it was like a funhouse mirror. There was a shot of funhouse mirror.
Yes.
Is there a funhouse mirror in the game room? Well, why not? It's a game room.
Yeah, it's like one in the middle and then a whole bunch around it, and he's got like a dozen Vincent Prices in it. So
there's some nice.
This one.
That one. Yeah.
There we go.
That's it.
I think that was the clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that shot. That was cool. All right. Well, then we have Vincent Price movies in the 70s that you made, Bill.
Yeah, and then in the middle, well, so it's sort of interesting because these last batch of movies are some of my favorite Vincent Price movies. Well, okay, basically no, it's just Dr. Phibes and Dr. Phibes Rises Again. I couldn't give a fig about the others. But he's going out strong. And then you're looking at his IMDb credits, and then from that point on, it's almost all TV.
Yep.
So I stuck in a thing here where he would show up on the Carol Burnett show a lot, and he just totally made it. After this movie. Yep. He basically was just playing Vincent Price. Vincent Price meets the Brady Kids, and Vincent Price is on TV shows and everything. He was able to pretty much carry that reputation.
Oh man, when he was on Hollywood Squares, it was great.
He didn't really do movies again until the mid '80s.
Yeah. There was a brief show called The Snoop Sisters that actually had a similar plot to this movie, where Vincent Price played Vincent Price, or a different name, but an aging horror actor whose movies are now considered kind of old-fashioned and stuff, and ends up killing a producer or something. I don't know. And then the Snoop Sisters figure out he did it. Everyone was trying to do Columbo at that point. Mm-hmm. Weird characters who solve crimes.
Yeah, always avoid any sister's named Snoop if you've just committed a crime. That's
yeah.
We've covered at least 19 Vincent Price movies.
Oh, of course.
Wow.
Decades of horror. He's through all three of them.
Yep.
Right. But I'm thinking of Vincent Price and TV stuff. Have you ever seen? I feel like I watched this on PBS.
What, Brady Bunch? No.
No. Sadly, we've all spent hours of our lives we'll never get back watching the Brady Bunch. But there was this. I think it was this PBS special where it was on video, I think, instead of film, and he just read poems.
Oh
yeah.
It was great.
He reads Sphinx,
and
not the obvious ones, but some less obvious ones.
He did Telltale Heart.
Great.
It was creepy too.
Look it up on YouTube because that was. I vividly remember watching that as a kid.
I remember watching.
I think they put that on some of those Vincent Price collections.
Did they? Good.
Scream Factory put out.
Good. I remember watching. I don't know if it was the whole thing or just a segment, but I remember watching him perform. He did a play where he was Oscar Wilde, Diversions and Delights, I think it was called, and he performed. He was magnificent. He was great.
He's very good in that.
Yeah. Didn't he do a radio show around this time too, where he would do read stories?
Oh, I'm sure he was doing. I was recently reading a book about obscure and cult British film and television, and not just horror, but other kinds of things too. And one of the things that the writers threw in there was this weird cooking show he did for British television.
Yeah.
He was great.
Where it's
wine connoisseur, wasn't he?
He's a chef, but he just sort of shows up and the writer was just like, it just feels like he just rolled into the studio and started cooking and they just turned the camera on. It was really not,
and he was quite an art connoisseur too. And
famously.
I've brought this up before,
cool guy.
but I'm not sure I remembered the title. So there's a noir action crime romance thriller.
Good God.
From 1951 called His Kind of Woman.
Oh, with Robert Mitchum.
Yeah, stars Robert Mitchum, Jane Russell, Vincent Price. And Vincent Price plays this
he's great.
Hammy, over the top, swashbuckling sort of Earl Flynn type actor, but he's a hoot. He's obviously the comic relief. He's hilarious.
Yeah, the pre-House of Wax Vincent Price, that, and also the Baron of Arizona. There's all these great sort of late 40s films that before he had been sort of became.
And he shows up in weird things. Isn't he in a Brigham Young movie where he plays Joseph Smith or something?
I wouldn't surprise me.
Sometimes the little roles, you're like, wait a minute, that's Vincent Price. And,
that's great.
And look, the guy did comic books. The guy had his whole I'm sure, I don't know if he had anything to do with it other than putting his name on the cover, but the Alfred Hitchcock collection of short stories. They had Vincent Price.
Remember this?
And the shrunken head apple sculpture. Come on.
He was a brand, and he seemed to be
embraced it.
Perfectly content to be a brand.
A craft for the whole family.
For the whole Manson family. Yeah. That's awesome. So yay, Vincent Price.
All right. Then we also have Peter Cushing. who was this was after the passing of his wife, and it's you can see it in his face.
And
didn't we say something about his wedding ring? Was that we did that pre-show, right?
Yeah. The director, Jim Clark. There was one scene where they told him, "Oh, your character's not was not married right now. He was wearing a wedding ring or something." And he always. This was shortly after his wife died, and he said, "I'm not taking this off." And the director just went, "Okay."
Yeah, that which is the correct response.
Yes, absolutely.
Now every single Star Wars nerd is going to freeze frame every possible frame of Star Wars to see if Grand Moff Tarkin is in fact wearing a wedding ring.
Was there a
like they wouldn't have erased that?
Mrs. Tarkin. Yeah. I'm sure there was
Which one? Which one? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
He is so much fun in the final scene, even though it's ridiculous. The look on his face where where first he's sort of stunned that quote unquote the ghost of Paul Toombs is standing in front of him, and then he's kind of like, yes, I did. It was, it was just like, it was mine. It was just he goes into full on, and it's just great. It's great. It's great fun.
Goes into the classic Perry Mason confession. Yeah, I did it.
Oh,
I did it. I'd do it again. I'm glad I did it. I wish I could have done it twice.
Of course I did it. This is a lie. But he's great in this. But here's some of the films he was doing around that time. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Unlike Vincent, he kept on.
Which we've done all of those.
Oh, they're all great.
Have we done From Beyond the Grave too?
Yep.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Great.
I saw Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell on the big screen not long ago.
Oh, lucky.
I'd never seen one. I think it was one of the only Hammer Frankensteins I hadn't seen, and somebody programmed it here in New York, and
oh, that's nice.
Nice.
Wasn't that also Terrence Fisher?
Yeah, that was great fun.
Yeah, it's a silly film, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
It didn't do the franchise any good, but
the writing was on the wall. There was nothing.
But I mean, yeah, but his character, his version of Frankenstein in that is perfect. The things he ends up doing because of his hands.
It's a perfect ending to the Frankenstein. If you, I mean, the films are very loosely connected, hardly at all. But when you look at the fact that the continuing character is not the monster is nothing. It's Dr. Frankenstein. See how he started to how he ends up is a great character arc.
Yeah, they would keep just enough of what happened. Like the fire, burned him, and they would have
great villain.
I love on Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. It says now showing all over London.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I mean, even in something like he's always. I mean, he's given so little to do in this, and he's such an obvious red herring. But whenever he shows up, it's just pure pleasure. Even in something like Shockwaves, where he's just like, perfect. That's perfect, Peter. It's great.
Yeah. Other films from '74, just from the year, is like Shatter, Legend of the Werewolf. You have The Beast Must Die.
I think after Helen passed, he was just working. He just the only way he could keep his sanity was to just work. Probably trying to work himself into an early grave.
Yeah.
The irony is he lasted a good long time after this, but he was just kind of treading water, waiting.
It's what you'd hope you'd be if you too had become, a character actor. Is just to always be a professional, no matter what's going on, whatever the context or whatever you find yourself in.
Here's a question for you, since we talked about Star Wars. We're of the age of we still had Peter Cushing movies coming out when we were young, and Road to Living. But Star Wars basically introduced him to a whole new generation. What would his legacy be now without being Grand Moff Tarkin? Do you think the generation now, that's what they remember?
I mean, anybody who has even the most tangential relationship to horror beyond the last 10 years, I think would know Peter Cushing.
He's one of the icons.
It's an interesting question because you could also say the same thing about Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee also ended his, toward the end of his career was a big factor in at least 2 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Vincent
Rings.
Price was not in any of them, but I think Vincent Price is a name or a face that the young ones still recognize. I don't know, those three just had such a resume, so many cool films. It's hard to imagine.
I will say that my wife, who's younger than I am, when we first started dating, she had no idea who Vincent Price was. I still married her.
Oh, wow.
But it is interesting sometimes, but she was not a big film person. So it is interesting sometimes the things that will, I'm sure there are people from my generation who weren't horror fans who really only knew Vincent Price from Thriller, something like that.
Yeah, Vincent Price's Thriller.
Oh, that is true. That's true. That's probably the equal of a Star Wars film.
Maybe, or they would only know him from at the very end of his life and from Edward Scissorhands or something like that.
He's the inventor or whatever whatever he's called.
Peter Cushing is probably the one who's least known to the younger fans because he didn't play a monster, but that one character in Star Wars, that's something. So it's good that all 3 of these guys lived long enough and were successful enough that to the very end they were working.
Yep. And
they were loved and they lived long enough that people who grew up with their films, when they became filmmakers themselves, you're Tim Burton and you have the opportunity to work with Christopher Lee or, cast him in a role, you're going to take advantage of that. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Pay back.
Sleepy Hollow, right?
Sleepy Hollow. Well, Edward Scissorhands. Yeah.
Well, Vincent Price.
Right. Christopher. Vincent Price was, he didn't get the chance to work with Peter Cushing, but.
All right. Then we have Robert Quarry. And when I see the pictures of him dressed up as a vampire,
I want to see him running with his hands straight out.
He was originally supposed to be a different costume, but he said, "Why don't I do Count Yorga?" And they all.
Oh, he did. He said he wanted it. All right,
sure.
This really was my favorite sequence because there's no explanation why everybody's dressed up. It's just
it just is.
It's just we shot the first episode of the new Dr. Death. Let's all let's all dress up.
Oh man, look at the height difference. One of the things I noticed, just on going down a rabbit hole here, is that when he was getting off the ship, and meeting the young lady that we all like, I forgot her name already. He is so freaking tall over everybody in that scene. He towers above, like the one guy that is carrying his stuff out to the car and everything, like beside him, and he's just like, the guy looks like he's like 4 foot tall. Next to him, he's probably 5 foot something.
He's a tall man.
But look at him here. Yeah, normally they don't play up on that, but man, it was so obvious these. But Robert Quarry, he was doing things.
He was doing things, and I like Robert Quarry. I like Robert Quarry, but I don't think he was ever going to be a horror icon. No. He was a great Count Yorga, but he's not tall. He's not Christopher Lee or Vincent Price tall. He plays a good villain. He plays a really good heavy in Sugar Hill and all that, and he's a good, interesting character in Dr. Phibes Rises Again. I think he was a great character actor, but I don't see where they thought they were grooming him to really take the place of any of the icons.
Yeah, desperation. I mean, they were also doing. Hammer was grooming Ralph Bates, right?
Yeah, that didn't work out either, did it?
No. I think Robert Quarry just found out there was a whole lot of stuff that Samuel Arkoff said that you could ignore. Like promises.
Check is in the mail.
But he has a good body of work. I mean, I dig all these movies.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen Deathstalker or Death Master.
Disappoint a little. We should do it sometime. I remember being a little disappointed watching it, but then I watch it on TV, so maybe all the good stuff was cut out. The premise is solid, Manson family if Manson were a vampire. All right, hey, that's a cool premise.
Pretty sure.
Boy, every time I look at it, that poster, The Return of Count Yorga is like one of the most misbegotten poster premises ever. It's like, what do you think you're getting from this? He's a big giant human head on a chicken's foot.
Well, I mean, clearly it was going to be a Count Yorga bobblehead night at the game.
Yeah.
There you go.
They just decided to roll with that for the poster.
Now, I'll say, if something that looked like that was chasing me down the street, I'd be terrified.
Well, the other one looks like, what is it? 4 women raping a guy.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, interestingly, that was the original premise.
I know.
Yorga, so,
yeah, except for Sugar Hill, none of these are particularly great posters. But
yeah, I kind of like the Count Yorga one, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of Count Yorga in it.
Yeah, Sugar Hill. The first time I saw that movie, I was just like,
zombies.
"Where has this movie been all my life?" I love this movie.
No.
Who would have thought that taking some silver painted popcorn and sticking them over people's eyes would work as a zombie?
And once again, I had never really, I don't think I'd really heard of Sugar Hill until, guess what? I listened to a Decades of Horror podcast about it.
There you go.
That's right.
That was
It's Marky Bay, right? Marky Bay, that's the actress's name?
One of the Black Saints' favorites, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what is Sugar Hill? What?
It doesn't make sense. You think of something else nowadays, but then
But thanks again.
Linda
Hayden, yeah. And I didn't realize until getting real close to the podcast that she was in these previous films.
Well, it's nice to know that her face grew into those eyebrows that she had. For Blood on Satan's Claw. She was very cute in this. Really,
Taste
unlikable
Dracula on Satan's Claw.
Yeah.
In 3D.
Well, she has a pretty big body of work. She did 46 things up until 2021. Which, she's still with us too.
Good.
I like that. Taste the blood of Dracula. The tagline is "Drink a pint of blood a day."
Okay, so this is when Hammer started really getting stupid with their tagline. Like irritatingly stupid with their taglines. They're still making straight, not campy horror movies, but apparently that information never got to the folks doing the posters because they would do things.
Yeah, Taste of Blood Dragon. That's one with Ralph Bates and the little weird like secret society who watch thrills, and that's right.
Is that the one where
they accidentally
he doesn't have any lines?
Yeah. I think so. Maybe only has 1 or 2 lines.
He basically just stays in the church the whole time.
Yeah.
There's a couple films she did after this that are you're gonna love the titles, and you're gonna remember these films. Old Dracula.
Yeah.
Right. She did that in '74 as well.
Contradiction in terms.
2 years later, she would be in Queen Kong.
Yeah.
She was in Voyage to Brazil. From Brazil.
Where she got to hang out with Rula Lenska.
Wow.
I just realized who she is in I'm sorry. The Blood of Satan's Claw. Oh my God, the eyebrows. I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Well, I interrupted what you were saying.
Apparently someone introduced her to tweezers at some point in the interim because I don't know really her premise is like she shows up in his room, she bribes the guy to let her in, and then it's like
Steals his watch.
Put me in your movie or I'm going to tell people that we had sex. They're going to be like, you go, Vincent Price.
Yeah. Think of what a different movie this would be if at the beginning of this movie, she goes sneaks in the room and he's just like, "Oh, hey, baby, you want a drink?"
Yeah.
And then he just takes her under his wing.
Yeah.
And then he becomes the stand-in for Ella. Again, I know I'm rewriting this.
No, Gregor, that makes perfect sense because then when people start dying, you're like, it's this girl trying to like get her way onto the set, and oh no, another actress died. If only there was someone here who already knows the lines. That's me.
All right, if someone would just, fire up the time machine, I can fix all of this.
Yep. All you had to do was shift her murder, like I said. but toward the end, and she would be.
We'll kill Hitler for free.
Yeah.
You know, that'll be an extra thing once we take care of the important stuff.
Also, I just want to point out right now, it's always like, oh, would you go back in time and kill Hitler as a baby? You don't have to go back to when Hitler was a baby. Just go back to like 1913 when he's broke, penniless, you know, a starving artist in Vienna, and
buy a
kill him
couple
there as an adult. What is it with all this Hitler baby stuff? Your time machine can only go back to 1890.
Well, you know, listen, it's dicey and everything.
I'm just saying that's always like it's like the trolley problem. It's like this is an artificial situation.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, I think it's more. Well, there's a different reason why they do that.
But yeah, but then you know you got to think about it because you go back and you kill Hitler, and it's like you know that's going to leave a big void that might be filled by someone who's like, I'm not going to invade Russia in the winter, and so everything changes. Maybe
yeah. Well, Stephen King kind of deals with that in 11/23/63 or 11/23/63.
If you go back and kill Hitler, you got to go kill Stalin too. I mean, there's so many people you have to go kill in 1913 that it's just
go back to the 1500s and stomp on a bunch of butterflies. It'll have the same.
That'd be
the way else.
The guy who goes back and kills like one person, then realizes, oh, I got to kill this other person, and the rest of the movie is just
right.
going back in time and killing various people to try to make things come out right.
Yeah.
Again, Hollywood. I don't know why you're not.
How come my phone is not ringing?
I know.
I hear silence.
If only I was King Parson.
Probably because they have like 325 other scripts that haven't already.
Yeah. Adrienne. Oh, I love her.
So good.
Good God, this woman. And because I'm not good with faces, and she has such a distinct face too. I don't know why I was like very old before I realized she's the victim in Clockwork Orange. She's great.
Yeah.
And apparently from interviews and other stuff, a real pistol too, like just not afraid to speak her mind and had a lot of cool stuff to say. She's in Devil Girl from Mars. Love that one. She was in Corridors of Blood. We did that one.
Did she play in Corridors?
She was like the one of the girlfriend of some of the creeps that lived I don't know.
You got the sense with her that she fully committed to whatever it was she was playing.
Yeah.
Full commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And loved her in Vampire Circus, of course.
Oh my God, she's the best. She's the best. Yeah. Oh my God. That one of my favorite movies from Hammer 70s.
Yep.
Or maybe my favorite movie.
And she really commits to this role too.
The last great Hammer movie.
Yeah.
Vampire Circus.
In certain ways, right there at the cusp of things going a little more.
Well,
it's so everything they could against the world.
Original, right? It's inventive, original, and and the story structure is so daring, because it has that long opening. The opening is
probably didn't do that well because it didn't have Christopher Lee in it, and they immediately are like, oh well, we better fall back on a star.
And she's got to be tough as nails because if you're making a movie with Kubrick, you're doing, I don't know, I'm going to spitball here, about 5,000 takes, and she's doing 5,000 takes of her being brutalized.
Yep.
So
hopefully that was only 24 takes, that one.
Yeah. No such luck.
In Kubrick.
Yeah. And next we have Julie Crowthwaite. Put a little extra into that pronunciation. She's the one who loses her head. She's great. Look at that screen.
She hardly did anything other than this movie and got married a lot.
She's on his arm at the party or whatever's going on there, and then Quail?
Yeah,
Quail outs her in front of everybody. And that's that.
Which is badly written because you'd think she'd be a little nervous if apparently she's kept this secret from her fiance, and here's her producer, former casting couch lover or whatever, and she's like totally surprised when he drops the dime on her.
It's I always think whenever there's an actor who loses their head in a movie and they have to make a fake head of that person, I always wonder myself, do they let the actor keep the fake head?
They really should.
Sometimes.
I would hope so. I would hope
I would hope so too.
Yeah.
Apparently, special effects people save the molds,
right,
and then trade faces back and forth.
Okay, listen, keep us on the down low here. Let's not be talking out of school.
But she makes an early impression, and she's basic. Her, even though she's not acting in the rest of the film, her presence is throughout it because of tone.
Yeah.
Right. So, and we see flashbacks to her from time to time, but yeah, and look at that screen. The screen looks modern. It doesn't look like 1973. That was like modern day screens.
I just love how this is supposed to be Hollywood a few years earlier, and you sort of figure out later that this has to have been like the early '60s, and everybody is dressed like it's 1973. Look at that bow tie. That there is no way any man, not even Vincent Price, is wearing a bow tie like that in 1963. It's just not happening. Yeah,
actually, it was 12 years. So
yeah. Oh, even worse. Yeah,
it'd be 61, right?
Yeah. So Anyway,
surprised it wasn't spinning.
Then we have somebody we didn't really speak much about, although we did reference the bed in which he died under. This is Barry Dennen, who plays the director that gets squashed. But there's some special stuff about him. Bill,
I like. Yeah, he's really known for a voice and for singing. So he plays Pontius Pilate in Jesus Christ Superstar. So Jesus Christ Superstar, they actually released the album first.
Yeah.
My sister had it and played it to death. I could recite every single lyric from this 2-record album, every single one of them. Music's actually excellent. And Pilate only has a couple of songs, but they're really good. And it's the actual actor. He has a great voice. And also played one of the few that actually carried over to the movie. I'm not crazy about the movie, but music's still pretty good, except a lot of the original singers are not the ones doing the singing. And having listened to the album 11 billion times, it doesn't sound right to me, but he did the performance there. He's in Shock Treatment, the very odd, and we'll have to do it one day, sort of kind of sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show, which just went to prove that you cannot create a cult film. The audience,
but you can't blame them for trying to do, for Richard O'Brien trying to do something with the same talents.
Sure, why not? And it's got Jessica Harper.
Yeah,
so got that going for it. And he has a small role in The Shining, where he is one of the folks that tells Jack Nicholson, "Hey, you should spend the winter at the hotel. It'll be fine."
Yeah,
but it's not fine. So he's and I believe he's still out there kicking.
Yeah, I know you said this, but wow, as he does a lot of voices.
Yeah.
At this point, that's pretty much what he's doing. I think.
Right. Video games, cartoons, whatever.
Yeah. In the film, I thought, he has a fairly significant scene opposite Vincent Price.
Yeah.
And I thought he held his own really well.
Yeah, he was fine. Did he have a scene before that scene?
No.
Or we were basically introduced to him in that. Yeah. And again, let's go take our time machine. This would be a more effective death if this guy existed before he died.
Oh yeah.
No, it's he's just something like, here's a director on the series, and then he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Like, how about you establish that he's aware of the fact that this is all subterfuge to eventually replace Vincent Price, and he's not totally cool with that, and then he's killed. It's like, oh, did Robert Quarry off him because he was going to spill the beans about it?
Damn, that hindsight is 2020. I swear. Some behind the scenes stuff, which is I love all the black and white pictures that support this film. And I wish there were color versions of it, because there's some great shots of all the actors and scenes, and behind the scenes stuff too. There's a great shot of Vincent Price in his burnt look opposite Peter Cushing sitting outside smoking. And, it's just a candid picture of them behind the scenes. It's so you just see the friendship between them. It radiates. I love these shots.
Seems to be enjoying himself here, hanging out with the ladies.
Sure. Well, how could you not?
Don't see any fun pictures of him and Robert Quarry sharing any amusing anecdotes, but
no. But there's a lot with Peter Cushing now. There are a lot with Peter Cushing.
That's lovely.
I made a quick mention of the director being a world-class editor. He won an Oscar for The Killing Fields.
Oh, wow. That's a brilliantly edited movie.
But also did, it's unbelievable, all the way back to The Innocents. He was the editor. Marathon Man. Just, you scroll through it, you just see Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's much more recent.
Oh, wow. That's also great. You would think that an editor would make a good director if you're looking at it just from the technical thing. I mean, the whole job of a director is to produce the material that the editor can put together. And if you are an editor, you would probably be editing this thing in your head as you're shooting it. So on paper, that makes sense. It's just that the skill set for being a good director, you've got to have that leadership quality. You got to be able to, oh my God, you're making a movie with Klaus Kinski and Oliver Reed. All right, you better be made of some stern stuff,
This, I mean, in terms of individual shots or scenes, this movie isn't badly directed. Again, it goes back to the fact that there's the script is just, and you just have you have the sense of like, here's somebody who and this is, I'm sure this happens all the time, which is why sometimes it's so hard. It's so difficult to make a movie, and there's got to be times when somebody is just like, I just need to get through this. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do what I can with this.
Day of the Locust.
I
mean, this guy's he's just everywhere. But well, he had a quote. I saw a quote of his, and rather than look it up, I'm going to try to remember it. But basically, he said early on in the post-production process, he just checked out because he said he said between Sabatsky and Arkoff, I wasn't going to get my way. And when he finally saw the pretty finished product, he was so ticked off at the edits that Sabatsky had made that made no sense at all to him. And that was the end of that. And by the way, Jim Clark, when I first saw his name, I thought, oh, well, that's the name of the race car driver. There was a British race car driver that won the Indy 500 in 1965. And they have his picture as one of the photos under Jim Clark, the editor. I don't know. He died in 1968, so I know they're not the same person.
No,
it is. When you look at someone's filmography and you think this is really impressive, how come there's this? It's almost always the case. Well, they somebody interfered, the studio, the producer, somebody did it, and as we've all done, probably when we're stuck in a situation, some job where you're just like, ugh, you just sort of check out. That explains it. Because again, there's scenes in within the movie that are perfectly. It's just it is and it's a script problem.
That is the thing. If you have a bad script,
it's
there's no way you're going to have a great movie. You might be able to schlep out something passable, or maybe it's got enough sizzle that you can ignore the fact that the steak isn't any good. But you're not, there's a real plateau you're going to reach pretty early on, and it's not going to get any better than that. The script is the most important thing.
It really is. I really feel like if you set aside technical difficulties and low budgets, that kind of problems with movies, 99 times out of 100, the reason a movie is bad is the script. Maybe it's the editing. Maybe sometimes, occasionally, it's like, okay, this was put together very badly, was edited badly. But it feels like every time it's like, this script was never going to.
And yet more than ever, we hear stories about, we started shooting the movie before we had a finished script, and you're like, wow, how did you think that was going to work?
Almost commonplace, right?
It is.
Well, I mean, and again, if you're like somebody like, Mike Leigh or Robert Altman, and are singularly talented with working that kind of way and make that part of your whole aesthetic, you can do that. And sometimes it works out very well, but not everybody is Mike Leigh or, Robert Altman or John Cassavetes or any other people who are able to do, to make things on the fly like that. Most people cannot do that. They don't have the talent for that.
And right now, the big thing in Hollywood is they're marveling over the fact that a movie like Obsession is doing so much better than some of these big Hollywood
They're so
blockbusters.
clueless. They're so clueless.
It's like, well, because the guy who made Obsession, that movie was not going to get made unless he could raise the money, which you can only, when you're an indie filmmaker, you're only going to be able to raise money when you've got a script that people can read and say, hey, this looks like to be a great movie. So there's got to be a finished script.
Yeah.
Wasn't the budget
Whereas
like
Mandalorian and
like
Grogu, they just said, we're going to make a movie with the Mandalorian and Grogu. And people are like, oh, make that movie. They didn't even ask, what's the story about?
Yeah, who cares? It's just like, oh, it did well on TV.
Yeah.
So here you go. Here it is. Yeah.
Well,
maybe they've learned their lesson.
Maybe
Morgan Freeman should pop in right now. In fact, they did not learn their lesson.
Right. Somebody gives that. Somebody pops up the time machine. They did not learn. Narrator. They did not learn their lesson.
All right. Well, that is our review of Madhouse and a couple dozen asides. I have enjoyed this discussion. The discussion is about 20 minutes longer than the film, but I loved it. Every minute of it. This is great. But I have a soft spot for this film because of the, reading about it growing up and loving the actors that are in this film, which kind of lets the film get away with a lot more than
some stuff it should.
Some people.
Like I said, if you are Vincent Price or Peter Cushing,
oh God,
you gotta watch it. Yeah. And if you're not an Adrienne Corri fan, there's something wrong with you.
Oh, learn. Yeah, somebody did discover.
You should be.
Yeah, you need to discover because she's.
Watch Vampire Circus.
That's right.
Yeah, everybody should put Vampire Circus on their watch list and set it up soon. Watch it this summer. Do it. All right. Moving out of this into our
feedback.
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 I do want to do something really quick. I want to take a moment to thank our patrons with this little skit. All right.
I'm still giving money to this? Oh, geez, I gotta.
We
on automatic, and next thing you know, you're looking up in a thank you card.
But long overdue. Thank you for all the people.
We appreciate it. You guys make this possible because it's all the fees for mostly for the hosting and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff costs.
Yep.
And Jeff has to buy a DVD of every movie that's reviewed.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't count. That's just me being a neb.
I'm just saying, the man is retired.
But
I do not have a copy of this one.
Oh, well,
I don't have a copy of this one.
So please join the Patreon. Spread the word.
But Devil Girl from Mars is on the way, Bill.
Oh, lucky ducky.
All right. But Jeff, take us into.
We have feedback. We
have
feedback, and I think I better read this first one if that's okay.
Yeah.
The Amityville Horror from Robert Baker, and
oh wow,
I find this. I really debated about reading this, but he says it's okay, so I'm going to, and I think it's. I don't know. It hit me for a point. So Robert Baker, who lives in North Carolina, I believe, some near Asheville. He told us some stories about the floods and the hurricanes.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Robert says, I am finally back. The first part you could cut out the recording of feedback if you wish. It's up to you. I don't mind if this is public or not. This year has been a rough and hectic one, and even though I did find time to listen to a few episodes, I wasn't able to always comment. I have been helping out a friend of mine, and I have known since high school that I have known since high school back in 1986. In 2023, he was diagnosed with liver cancer, and for 2 years, he successfully beat it. And for most of 2025 until late December, when the cancer returned with a vengeance and in a much more advanced state. The writing was on the wall, so I made the decision to just help him get through this difficult time, whatever he needed. Mostly it has been hanging out with him, doing a few things, including watching some of our favorite movies while he felt well enough before his condition got really bad. On the morning of May 31st, he did pass away, and although sad, it was also a relief since he had truly entered the suffering stage the last month or so. Now he is at peace, and now I not only watch these movies for myself, but now also in his honor. And that's kind of the reason that I did that. And also, you know, we do these podcasts and there'll be people that are regular commenters, and then all of a sudden they disappear and we don't know what happened to them, if they just got caught up or wasn't as important, or their priorities, you know, whatever it is, you know, we just don't know. And I don't read anything from that. Others have been with us the entire time, and they may still be listening, just not making comments. I don't know. But this kind of hit me in the feels, as they say.
Yeah.
So now we're on to episode 264 of the Amityville Horror, and Robert goes on to say, so on to the Amityville Horror. This one will always be a bit special to me, not so much because of the movie, but because of the book. I read it along with Salem's Lot when I was in the 4th grade.
Oh, wow.
These books were my first adult horror stories I ever read, and both will always be special to me for that reason. The movie itself was scary for its time, but not so much now. It seemed more scary when that was a time where we wanted to believe stuff like this could really happen. And in the summer of 1980, my family went to the drive-in to see The Empire Strikes Back. They showed the movie twice instead of another feature, but for some reason, the trailers in between were all horror movies. You obviously stayed for both showings, and Amityville Horror was one of them. And that was my first exposure to the actual film. And if anyone remembers The Children from the same year, of course, we did that on 80s. That was the second trailer. The two together gave me nightmares. But a few years later, I did manage to see Amityville, and I enjoyed it, as only a soon-to-be teen kid can. I will leave you with a funny story about this movie. In college, I had a friend who loved horror movies, but this is one of the few she absolutely refused to watch. She tried it one night when she was alone, when she was a teenager. When the image of the house came up, that eerie children's choir begins and the sky turns blood red as the credits roll, she had to turn it off. She was so scared, laugh out loud. Take care. You have some episodes going all the way back to January. I need to catch up on hearing. Well, have fun, I hope, and send us some comments. Appreciate it.
Sorry for your loss, but I'll just say you are a good friend. I think everybody, if God forbid something, life hits you the way it hit your friend, we all hope that we have people in our lives who care about us as much as you obviously cared for him. So,
so we appreciate it. And let's go on. 266, don't torture a duckling. Bill.
Sure.
Andy
L says, hi, crew, and welcome back, Jeff. I had some interesting tidbits to add about actress Irene Pappas. As an actress, I remember her well from Z, The Guns of Navarone, Zorba the Greek, Anne of 1,000 Days, and Moses the Lawgiver, but she is also somewhat infamous musically. Back in 1972, the Greek progressive rock band Aphrodite's Child released their most famous album, 666. The group is probably remembered most for their keyboard player, Evangelos, who later had a solo career that included the award-winning theme song for Chariots of Fire, which is probably familiar to anyone over 50. Oh, yeah. The album was their magnum opus, a double CD release by the band based on the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. In the song Infinity, she appears as a guest vocalist where she is vocalizing the sounds of reaching an orgasm based on the phrase, I am the one who is and who was and who is to come. It was pretty scandalous at the time and rumored that she was having an actual orgasm while recorded, but probably added to the overall attention to the album, and I'm sure the allure to adolescent males in the early 70s. Still a very good album with some great songs in it. I include a link to Infinity on YouTube, as well as to my favorite song off the album, The 4 Horsemen. And as soon as this podcast is over, I'm going to play that song, crank it up loud, and open the windows so the neighbors can enjoy it all too.
Yeah, I listened to it.
I'm going to raise a glass to you.
It's quite unique. No, I'm serious. I've heard. I don't know why. I don't know if he recommended that before. I've heard this before somewhere. All right, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it so much. Episode 268, Baba Yaga Gregory from Manny Lamont.
Manny Lamont, 5757. Manny writes, I agree with Bill on this. There was a Barbarella vibe. but I got a Danger Diabolic vibe too.
Ooh, nice.
Years ago, there was a young woman who worked in my office and had a Valentina-like hairstyle. She was a bit weird, like the movie. The film is not weird in an interesting way either. I think I caught it on the Midnight Pulp channel. I thought it was going to be an old horror movie about a witch. Well, there is a witch in it, but I am not sure what was going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're with you, Manny. We're with you. And then we have a couple. Yeah, on Satan's School for Girls. Doc. Somehow or another, I always give you the Retro Game Man Dan one.
Yeah, Retro Game Man Dan. He says 8:26. I guess that's a time stamp. Well, that's well wrong. You could land up in Vermont of Madness.
Vermouth of Madness. So this was, Bill was talking about all the drinking. You know, oh, have some vermouth, have some vodka, have some, you know, I don't know. And then he punned out the vermouth into the Vermouth of Madness, in the Vermouth of Madness.
In the Vermouth of Madness. Oh, my.
We get you, Dan. We get you. We're kind of slow. And then Jerry Chandler. Bill, you want to take that? Or Doc, you want to take that one too?
Sure. I'll do a Jerry Chandler.
You got a short Jerry Chandler. How come I get the novels for television? You get the 2 lines.
Yeah, of course.
The novels are usually about you, Bill.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's in my contract that I can't read one now. Jerry Chandler says, "Oh wait, 2 guest appearances by Gregory Crosby and Mr. Personation suddenly needed to attend ugly business that night. I sense a trend."
Oh.
Now, I just want you to understand, Jerry, that as Jeff mentioned a few moments ago, sometimes a regular commenter simply disappears. We don't know what happened to them. Maybe sometimes the reason somebody is making less comments is because one of the Grue-Crew has taken it upon themselves to read that commenter's comments in the voice of, I don't know, maybe a mad combination of Percy Dove Tonsils and Niles Crane.
I was going to say Niles Crane. That's perfect. That's
great. Even though that the person who makes that comment doesn't sound anything at all like that.
Not at all.
So, sometimes people disappear in comments, and you just gotta assume that it's as many things are, that it's Chad's fault.
Well, shucks, I always thought you did a good job.
So for people who haven't been regulars, whenever Gregory would make a comment, Chad would read it. I would ask Chad to read it, and he would do it in a an upper class accent.
I believe it's known as a mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic.
Jody.
So yes, that was the thing that happened. So maybe it really isn't Chad's fault. Maybe Chad is just a pawn in a game he doesn't understand.
Yes.
Really, Jeff.
Are we all?
It's just like
puppet master.
Just like this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have more control over some than others.
Yeah.
Maybe he's complimenting you. He said that you seem like someone who would hold his own in an argument with Betty Davis and Katharine Hepburn.
There you
Except
go.
I would be too smart to get into an argument with Betty Davis.
Yeah, you don't get into an argument with Betty Davis and you don't win. At least
stand back.
Well, that's our feedback, right, Jeff, for tonight. Where can someone who wants to provide feedback do so?
Lots of places.
Anywhere you want, actually.
We love our feedback. Let me be more specific. You can make comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel or at the Gruesome Magazine's H&R and DOH podcast Facebook group, or send an email to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com. And we love.
Or if you become a Patreon member,
yes,
you can also leave a comment, especially on the Patreon only content.
Yeah. So for example, we just recorded Mystery of the Wax Museum on the Classic Era on Sunday. It went out to Patreon members on Monday. It will not go public until Saturday, the 26th, I believe.
Yeah.
And it is a great episode. And because I am a Patreon member, I got to listen to it. And now I know more about the two-color Technicolor process from the early 30s than I ever thought possible.
And I want you to know, this is not a pay-to-play situation.
No, you just have to make a nuisance of yourself. That's
it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's it for this episode. We will be doing our next episode in 2 weeks. It's Jeff's pick, and it comes with a very special guest host with that as well.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a second. But Bill, first tell us, what film are we doing?
Bill?
Oh, what? Jeff's got the next pick, isn't it?
Jeff, why don't you tell us? Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Well, you said Jeff to start with, so I thought.
I did indeed. I just slid into a different channel.
Well, we're going to do Night of the Seagulls, the fourth film in the Blind Dead. I'm going to call it a tetralogy. It could be a quadrology, but whatever.
Are you including Escape from Planet Ape or whatever they called it?
Whatever. Night of the Seagulls, and our own Blind Dead expert.
Oh, yes.
Jerry Chandler will be joining us for that episode.
Oh, you know what this means? We're not going to get a novel for television from Jerry on that. Yes, we are. He's going to comment.
There'll be something.
There's something
the novel will take place during the episode.
I meant to bring something up.
Well, and the first thing that will happen is he will correct us if any of us call them zombies.
Zombies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I will do a number of times.
It would be very interesting to hear where Jerry ranks Night of the Seagulls, because
I think he ranks it pretty
Blind
high.
Dead fan is going to have a very set ranking of the 4 films in mind.
And who would that fan be?
I'm just saying that everybody who's seen all of the Tombs of the Blind Dead movies has a ranking in their mind.
It's well, I guess I should say, but I think it's the best movie of the 4, but it's not the best Blind Dead movie, if that makes any sense at all.
Yes.
We'll buy it.
I agree with that.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it for the show. Jeff, Bill, thank you for joining me as always. Gregory, it's always a pleasure to have you on as a guest star. Please come back again soon.
Always a pleasure. I will attend the opening of an envelope. So
there you go. Which we don't open that much anymore, do we? We'll open something else. We'll open a beer or something. All right, everybody, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.